After the coup, I was arrested, charged essentially of being a spy. In fact, really, the central allegation was that I was uh, the spy handler for Aung San Suu Kyi, who was a puppet of mine. Was was the allegation? It was completely absurd. But essentially, I was charged with espionage in Myanmar as a way of getting to her. So both myself and Aung San Suu Kyi were put on trial. Also, the leading ministers of the civilian government at the time as well. And then I spent 2 years in the prison in awful circumstances and so on. So I guess the price I paid was that, but also the price of my family. I think above all, my dad, my wife, my daughter. I think the cost was borne by others more than me, to be honest, because I think sometimes when you're the person at the center of whatever the drama is, you know more about what's going on for you. You're less anxious about it than loved ones around you. But I'd like to echo Dave's point, John, which is just to say that however much I suffered, it was nothing compared to my Burmese colleagues who were in immeasurably worse circumstances than me. I had an entire government, the Australian government, behind me, tirelessly trying to get me out. I had the US government trying to get me out. I had the British government trying to get me out. So, I had all of that behind me. My Burmese colleagues had none of that. And yet they protected me. They gave me their food ration. At one point, I was in the notorious insane prison in Yangon, and I was even in the area of the prison called Death Row, the death row part of the prison. And the death row prisoners, because they got some extra bread for being on death row, but they gave the bread to me because they thought, oh, this Australian guy, he's probably sick of rice. Let's give him our bread ration. And these sorts of gestures just took place all the time. I had one particular Burmese friend of mine called Kin Mong Shui who looked after me to an incredible degree. He was later bashed and kicked to death by the prison guards of this same insane prison. And part of the reason they attacked him was that he was my friend and that he'd helped me. So, to agree to Dave's point, I'm very much motivated, I think, by the love and courage and compassion of my Burmese colleagues. And that, despite whatever costs have come to me, they're sort of, as I said, immeasurable compared to them. And their love, their courage and so on just inspires me. I remember for a brief period in the prison, I was thinking, you know what, when I get out of here and go back to Australia, I'm just going to leave everything, leave it all behind. I'm just going to sit on the couch and watch TV. That's it. And then I think that resolve lasted about 3 hours and I was back in there just anxious to have a go back. Which is more or less what I've been doing since I came back to Australia.